Welcome to Gerd, a load of this.
We have a title.
It was divine inspiration at way too late last night while I was watching TikTok,
I think the
so
best things come from late nights.
I agree. It was delirium is really what it was.
Who needs drugs?
I'm ready.
So we're talking assistant to the villain today. Yeah.
Yes.
I know it's nothing like Akatar, but for some reason when I was when I was reading it, my brain was like, this is a better Akatar. Like, this is an Akatar I would have liked. And I was like, why are we thinking this? Because it is nothing like Akatar in any
You're like,
way.
maybe it's just a good book.
Yeah.
Avatar was just
Well,
not.
okay. We start off with a girl in a man's world, all right. In terms of
That's
like her
true.
work, like she's a blacksmith. That's
Slay.
kind of cool. Even though women were very recently allowed to be in the workforce.
I love that element of it.
She's
Like, I think it
solely
was very well
responsible for providing for her family after her dad, who used to be quite successful, has fallen ill.
That is very Akatar coded.
Yeah, and so I think like the
Well,
foundation
I think
was
sick daddy
Akatar.
trope is just like really rampant right now.
I'm not saying anything was like, it was just giving me the
Yeah, I get
foundation
that.
of Akatar, and then it just took off in a way I liked. I actually
Okay.
liked our female character. She wasn't whiny.
A lot.
She was
No.
strong. I liked her family. They weren't annoying. Well, for the most part. And then our main character goes off into some spooky woods, and she finds a way to give her family a better life, but she doesn't complain a single time as a scary villain perceived where did he's perceived as scary, and he offers
Yeah.
her a chance to provide for herself and her family, and like takes her away to his mansion, his manor. But she doesn't cry about it the whole time. She like actually thrives in the
She's like, okay,
situation
actually, I can make
and
this work.
realizes it's helping her family.
I think that's really to me when I was reading, I think the only thing that was confusing within the first couple chapters, and maybe it's just because dyslexic and like I do tend to skim over stuff that like my brain just doesn't
Me
read.
too.
That's fine, whatever. When he was offering her the job, I don't think that I realized that he himself, or like I didn't realize that the trajectory of the book was going to be he has other employees. I thought that he was just like handing her a job out of nowhere because he was just like, well, she said she needed a job, like I'm just gonna be nice to her. I like that he has other employees. I liked that aspect, and I really like the characters that you get to kind of like see her interacting with at the office. I just thought it was so interesting because when I first read it, I was like, okay, he just needs her to do his evil bidding. And I didn't realize that we were going to be like filing paperwork.
It's not an
and
accomplice, right? It's an assistant. It's a
well,
true
yeah, I
assistant.
guess, but who knows? It threw me through a loop, but like a really good one. I was very pleasantly surprised about that. She just showed up to work one day and it was work. It was an office with paperwork and a calendar and like scheduling and logistics. Like I was like, oh, I'm here for this.
Yeah, it's interesting because I felt like this book could have been a dark romance book, like very dark, because he straight up is like, there's dead bodies and like torturing, but nothing's
severed heads.
yeah, nothing's dug into, which is like weird.
Yeah,
Because
it's like you just are expected to. You're expected to just like move on from the fact that there are like corpses on a desk and like fingers and heads and stuff.
It
It's
was
really
really fun because it kept the light, silly vibe, which is true to the main character. But it was a little, I would say, like to you, like confusing because I don't really know what he does. I mean, you kind of figure out what he does later, but like
I don't know how
it was like he just willy nilly kills people.
Yeah,
and we don't know why or
like, how an
how.
office of people. There was, I would say that that's kind of like one of the only plot holes that I like noticed was just like it didn't really explain besides the fact that he's like been tracking stuff, kind of like what those other employees were needed, it really gave me like Fantastic Beasts
I mean, I
and
think
Where to Find Them. Like
most.
it was like kind of like that. I don't know. It gave me that vibe of like just random workers that needed to do stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I think in that sense, the interns were the random workers. I had no idea what they're there for.
Yeah.
Because you have a chef, they cook for people. That makes sense. Because you have, like,
Right.
he had a lot of soldiers or guards.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
true.
sense. And you have a chef to feed everyone, a doctor, to like a healer to heal people. Um, what Becky for like public relation, not public relation,
Yeah, but like
intercompany relations.
HR essentially.
Yeah, she was HR.
And then you had
have
the
a
like
cook
animal
for the
handler.
cafeteria. You have the bestiary guy to take care of the magical creatures. An assistant.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like
The
interns
interns
were
were
probably
the
the only
main
ones.
thing. It's like, what are they in? Like, I don't know what
I
they're
think maybe
interning for.
the like random other people that he kind of like kills off in somebody's name. Those like I don't know what their roles were. It doesn't really matter, but it was just interesting kind of like seeing, I don't know, into their like day-to-day life. I liked the pacing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there wasn't really any sort of lull, and you might feel that way like going into a book knowing that you're like visiting them every single day and there's not really like time passage. I guess besides like the first after the prologue, there's not really any time passage like weeks or multiple days or stuff like that. Like it's very much like one day off here, one
interesting.
day off here. Like I kind of liked it because I thought that it would get a little monotonous, but I did like the pacing of it a lot.
I think it very much
kind
could
of like carrying
have,
it through.
but she gets hired, and then the next chapter is 5 months later. So like,
Right.
which kind of somber. We don't get to see her first day and like whatever else. But
she
I could have
tells us
been
about it.
boring. Yeah.
And I like that. I like that element of like I'm gonna kind of retell you my story as I'm like walking up the stairs getting ready for my next day. Like I liked
It fills in
the way that
fluff.
she I liked it a lot.
But yeah, it very easily could have been dark, and it's not. Like you said, it's just like the casual kind of glazes over. Like your boss is dragging a bloody, beaten body around. Sometimes you like hear some torture screams, and also
Yeah.
coffee was really good this morning. Yeah, we
Yes.
just keep going.
I have so many highlights and like
So do I.
notes from this page. I'll start with like my favorite quote, I think. Which is my stupidity is profound enough to be acknowledged, damn it. I loved that. No, I think that is Evie saying like in the moment, I think it's like after her first day or something, she feels really, really dumb about something and everybody's glazing over it and she's just like, come on, like I deserve to like somebody tell me I'm stupid, please, because I deserve that. I love that line so much.
See, I do not have a favorite. I do not have a favorite quote, line, dialogue, but there was so many. Like I had to keep myself from highlighting all of the dialogue in the
Everything.
beginning, especially Evie's dialogue, because it was just like I would read it, giggle to myself, read it again, like pause, like LOL, meat.
Yeah, honestly, like every line would be like me.
Yeah,
Me.
like in the prologue, we start off. She gets shot in the shoulder, grazed, whatever, and the very first thing she says is that hurt. It wasn't like, oh shoot, or like this like dramatic speech or like,
Like,
this promise of vengeance. It's just, that hurt.
ouch.
And then, like the
Ouch,
first
ouch.
thing after she doesn't get blown up from the bomb, the first thing she says, like she doesn't say anything, and he's like, "You're really quiet." She's like, "Well, I'm glad it didn't explode."
Right.
Matter of fact.
She's like, hey man, I just came into work today and I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, and
It
then
literally is, ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
the back to the bomb. We're on the parapet, and her stiletto heeled boot gets stuck, and she almost
Why is
dies.
she wearing stiletto boots?
You're telling me. I want to be mad too. I'm not a fashion girly, but if I was a villainess of any kind, if I was in that world, in that realm, on that side,
Do you think he would
How
be wearing
how
stilettos?
do you not walk down a stone hall with your flowing cape or dress and your high-heeled shoes, the clicky clacky on the stone
I
echoing
guess you're
throughout,
so right.
some
But
moody
a
music?
stiletto,
You can't
it it
not.
it implies that we're working with like 4 to 7 inches, and I'm just trying to figure out like why are we if she knows that she has like 10 flights of stairs to run up every morning, maybe choose a flat. Some days, I don't know.
I
She
just
wasn't
don't think I
expecting the
couldn't
bomb,
not. Like,
but
just it's a
do you
mood.
know that meme of Megamind and he like puts his shoe out and he's like baby seal leather boots? That's what I was imagining she's walking down the hall like with a bomb in her hand. Like,
Why not?
gotta get rid of this. When he's when oh my gosh, when she finds out that he named the dragon Fluffy, I just wrote, "Oh, that's it." I was like, "Oh,
It's never really discussed, is it? Like, it's discussed
no, it's
on each
not."
side, but she never confronts him about it.
She never asks him about it. She's just like, "Okay,"
Maybe in the
but
next
she's
book.
like, oh, "He remembered. That's nice." So I was like, "Oh," and I don't know if you've read Howl's Moving Castle over or if
No.
you've seen the movie, but the Hayao Miyazaki film, but this villain is so akin to how Howl is in the book.
Okay.
He's very like I don't know. He's very like over dramatic but only internally. And so when he's like when it's his POV, he really does give me like Howl vibes. So I noted that he said he wondered if it would scar her for life if he threw himself from the window. And that's so dramatic because I don't even remember what he did was really not that like big, but he wanted to just end it all because he was either embarrassed or like saddened that he like maybe hurt her feelings or she was anxious or whatever. And I just wrote so Howl because he is just so like melodramatic for no reason. And he's like, maybe if I killed myself, maybe how would she feel?
But like you said, it's only internally.
It's only internally because he doesn't act that way when like he doesn't say that stuff out loud. Oh my gosh.
It's like
And
the
then the whole
I'm
like
fine.
nightlight. I was giggling so hard.
Only in his chambers,
Only in his chambers.
which relatable. You're
Oh my
very
gosh.
you're very exposed and vulnerable when you're unconscious.
That's actually so true. Facts. I'm getting one.
Valid.
It's going in my Amazon cart tonight.
All right, did you have
Um,
any other good highlights?
Let me see. I have like 19, so I won't go through all of them, but I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look.
I
There's a
did
hand flex, which for my Pride and Prejudice girlies, that's a really big moment. I was kicking, screaming, throwing up, crying. I think a good quote also was, but he had the habit of doing that, making her float when she felt like she was sinking. I really like that. That's
Mm.
not the exact quote, but it's something of that nature. Um, my last one is where I love that he like has these no other reason moments. He grabs the chair closest to his desk, angles it slightly towards the window, only because it looked nicer that way. It had nothing to do with the sun hitting at just the right angle, causing the sparks of light to glint in Sage's long black hair. He just liked the chair there. I'm like, me. Actually, me. No other reason.
Like you
Ah,
said, the third person aspect is written really well, where it feels borderline first person because it's written like
yeah.
it's in their head, like it's them narrating, and it's not just a matter of fact narration.
Which I really like, I guess, it just really catapults the pace as well
Yeah.
because you don't feel like
Well, it
you're.
helps you connect to them.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel
And
like
his
third
both of their
person,
personalities.
I feel like third
Oh,
person
yeah.
books I don't connect because it's like matter of fact narrating. She
Hmm.
smiled. Okay, great. She smiled.
Right.
Whereas opposed to like I saw him smile. Like I feel more connected. and I didn't have that big disconnect in this book.
Yeah, I think it was very well written. Good job,
I did
our queen.
I did think that the whole, like, off the rip, I thought that the villain thing was gonna be a misunderstanding where
Mm.
everyone, like, it's a rumor. It's just a rumor. It's this built up thing. He's just like a shutout and he doesn't want to be killed, so he stays in hiding. Because we never talk about what he does, right? Like, she asked someone, like, oh, what has he done? And, like, nobody has an answer, like, what the villain has done that's so bad. And then, like, the first page is, like, there's severed heads hanging from the ceiling. I'm like, okay,
like,
so
oh,
he actually
so he
kind of is. It's still a perception thing for sure. Like, villain versus hero. There's so many stories where the villain, almost all stories, the villain thinks they're the hero because it's perceived that way. Like, they think this is right. So it's still that case, but I didn't think he was just gonna have heads hanging from a ceiling, because that is kind of a villain thing to do. Even if you kill people for good reasons, you don't hang their heads.
Really stick with it through the entire book. I know that a lot of books, especially now, kind of like hammer the plot points. Well, they hammer the plot points like within the first 5 chapters. This is what you know about the character, and then they kind of just will let them flub at the end, and it's like, well, that's not who you described to me before.
So they stay strong to their personalities.
Yeah, I really like that that he stood on still being a villain. Like, he's still okay with slashing necks and, like, you know, crushing bones. Like, I appreciate that about that he never, even though he's like starting to soften, or like all these feelings are brewing or whatever, he still is like, well, I still have to get my job done, so there's going to be a head on your desk tomorrow. Just wipe it off. I really like that he still has that like tame rage and he's willing to utilize it. I'm like, okay, I like this. This is nice.
Yes, I really liked both of them and their relationship, even though it wasn't a true relationship. Nothing really. Okay, at 80%, at chapter 46, nothing was super irritating to me. Nothing was pet peeving me. Like, it didn't feel toxic or drama-y.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much always had trust, minus that, like, 2-page stint, that chapter stint. No annoying miscommunication, no, like, weird jealousy.
I love that was cleared up within a chapter. Thank
exactly.
God. I was like, I can't do this.
There was no irrationally mad moments that lingered, at least.
Right.
Like, he's a villain. She's not trying to change him. She doesn't get irrationally mad at him for doing things that he does. Like you said, they stuck to their characters. She doesn't, I wouldn't say she turns into a villain, right? Like, some more colors get shown or strengthened through the course. Like, it's a trauma. Like, things happen and she grows, but she doesn't, like, change for him. He doesn't change for her. And they actually, like, what is, he says, like, she is a light. Like, she is brightening his world.
Yeah.
And I think that was really nice to see in their relationship. She kept supporting him. He recognized that she was bringing good things to her life without changing his life too much. That being said, because I said knock on wood, this is 80% through. 2 pages later, this man says, I realize I love her. I vow to never tell her. I said, never mind.
I highlighted that he'd never tell her. I literally noted why though. Why though? Question mark.
As I was saying, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so refreshing. It's not toxic. There's no drama. This is going to be great. I'm never going to tell her how I feel.
Which
Get out of here.
That's... I am a slow burn girly. I loved the way that this book ended. I loved the pacing of their like misunderstanding and their like jokes and banter about, you know, like promiscuous things, but they never do anything, and it's always like, oh, what did you say? Oh, no, nothing. Like, it's very much like, did I hear that right? Am I projecting? Like, whatever. I just really loved the, like, I don't know, I just really loved the
I thought it was refreshing.
Yeah, just like, don't give it all to me in one go. Just because like he noticed that he loved her, he's probably still waiting for her to realize that. And even if she does or doesn't by the end of the book, like, I know that the pacing is, I hope, because I haven't read the second book, but I hope that the pacing is like, good enough to kind of keep that going at least until half the book, because I think I'll be really disappointed if like we get 5 chapters in and they're like, I'm all over you. Like, I don't want that. I still want the slow burn to go, because I think that their type of miscommunication, will they, won't they, is so much better than Iron Flame. Like, I can't do it. I cannot do it.
That's what I was saying. Like, there was nothing. I was talking to someone about this book, like recommending it. I was like, it's refreshing. I think I had finished it when I recommended it. I was like, there's nothing that like genuinely annoyed me where I was like complaining about it. I mean, yeah, he's like, I'm not going to tell her. But like, it was kind of towards the end anyway, and I'm sure he will tell her.
Yeah.
At some point, but it was like
we've had
the entire journey itself,
whisperings of whatnot
it was
from the author in the second book. So
their relationship
we'll get there.
Was interesting without being so over the top much.
Yeah, it was not like a 0 to 60. I like that they both recognize how hot each other are within the first like 3 chapters, and then after that it's just like, okay, we're hot, we get it. Like, we're not gonna like rip each other's face off, but like, it's understood. Both of us are like really into each other, but it's okay. We don't, it's not gonna affect our day-to-day life. I really like that. I think that some, especially romantasy, can be like, oh, we found him. It's time to jump his bones. I'm like, can I get a little story, please? Just like a little bit before, a little bit after, and then yeah, like I don't need all of the crazy stuff right in the front of the book, please. Thank you.
And back to your point, book 2 being, I hope it's still a slow burn. There is the foreshadowing. Chapter 34, when it comes, this is Tristan, the villain. When it comes to the thing one loves most, it's always better to be trapped together than free and apart.
Oh,
and well, I knew that was gonna come back to haunt us. He gets taken and will be trapped alone. And so I think they're gonna be apart most of the second book, because she's gonna have to figure out how to get in.
But I think that it's gonna be nice, because
it's gonna make the heart grow fonder. Mm-hmm. And I think their reunion is gonna be
better. Yeah. It's gonna be more ceremonious, which I'm very excited for.
I would feel she would have her feelings figured out by then, because she's gonna realize when he's trapped alone and she's trying to get him back her feelings, and he's gonna be like, YOLO.
I feel like she is a certified people pleaser, and I think that the end of the book really broke her of that in like such a good way. So I am hoping that the beginning of the next book is very much like, you know what? I don't want to deal with people pleasing anymore. This is my time. Like, I'm going to go. But I think that I'm hoping that she has like trials in order to get there. I don't want them to like, I open up the book in the next chapter, like they're there. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, this book again was just really, really well done. I am restraining myself from ordering the second book like tomorrow. But I have one more note. Two more notes, actually. I love that he calls her a little tornado. I think that totally like encapsulates everything. And it wasn't like this weird cutesy pet name at the beginning. Right. He was just like, you are so chaotic. And then it turned into something cutesy. We're like, oh, a little tornado, that's cute.
And well, I think I like that because she's kind of seen, she's a people pleaser who wears sparkly clothes and says like shiny sparkly things, and it infuses into his vocabulary. So she's, I guess, seen as a sunshine character, which I don't generally like. But he sees from the beginning that she's not just this facade, like girly girl. She actually has depth to her. He's not like trying to make her dark or like bring out this inner demon in her. He just recognizes like the passion and fire within her. And I think that's like what I liked about the tornado pet name. is I guess seeing that from the beginning and then her kind of thriving into that role later.
Absolutely. I just love this book. I gave it 5 stars. Maybe I'll revisit in a little bit after. I don't know. I do this thing where like I'll give the first book 5 stars, and then if I didn't like the second one, then I'll take back a star or something. But it just really had me captivated in all aspects. The world building, I think, was very nice. That it was very like central to a tavern, a home, a manor.
Yeah.
And it didn't. I wasn't like she went to a bookstore at one point. I didn't need to like know all about the entire
It wasn't
kingdom.
overly
I'm really
complicated.
excited. Is it the Gleaming City? Like, I'm excited to see what that's like if we get to experience that and kind of be in other places. But I loved that it was like it's a hour walk to work, this kind of thing. Like it was very much just well closely knit, and I liked the world within that, and then also just the relationship with everyone. Her like becoming really good friends with the cook, and then having this weird almost pseudo friendship with Becky towards the end, where it's like we don't hate each other but we're not besties. Like I think that was really well written. I love all of her thoughts on Becky are so funny, and I felt maybe this makes me a mean girl, but I really was just like, I resonate with everything that you say. I'm like, yes, absolutely. But I have one more. It's in chapter 50, and it's when he is basically he like comes upon her and her father having the altercation. He yells at the door. He's like, open the door. Then he punches the door open and he gets splinters, and he says he doesn't care. I literally put in a note, what red flag? I'm colorblind. Like I don't usually like it when male characters like punch stuff, because it is like very if you're willing to do it to a door, who knows who you're on. But I think that he really was just trying to get in there, and I'm all for that. But I was like, red flag where? Where is it? I don't see it.
So, did you know or have a guess as to who the mole was before it was plainly written out?
No.
I didn't either.
And I don't know if that's because I don't intend to skim. I don't intend to skim, but I'm sure maybe if I read it again, I realize that her dad gave her like
you
a
know what you're
journal or
looking
something.
for now.
Right, but I don't think that it dawned on me.
I cannot read mystery books. We cannot read mystery books.
No. Well, here's the thing. Usually
although we never see
they're
it coming.
predictable. And again, like I was saying at the beginning, sick daddy tropes really don't do it for me. Like it's just it's overdone. But then she
how
like turned
else
it around,
is she
and I was
supposed
like,
to become the man of the household if daddy doesn't fall?
Whatever. Let's just install dystopian like manners in our freaking high fantasy books. It's fine. No, I had no guess. I like that they had like a implicate everyone vibe to it. Like everyone had a share in the pie. I do really like whodunits, and I like that this book ended up being a whodunit. I was not expecting that.
I think honestly, it keeps me reading. Like I'm trying to figure out who it is, and it keeps me more engaged.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it was nice to have the information from the guards at all times. I don't know. I feel like it was just really everything was flowing. I didn't feel like we did too much back and forth, because I think that could be overdone.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, we've looked into 7 people and we've had like mini chapters about all 7 people and how they didn't do it. I'm like, oh, okay. But no, I think that who we implicated and like how that worked out, it was really good. And then I liked that the dad was just a doofus. Like that's the only PG word I can think of right now. But he like really stuck to his guns of like, no, I don't care. try me. So I thought that was very interesting because I thought there would be like some sort of like, I didn't mean to do it. No, he
Yes.
did. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Because I didn't want, I don't know, I didn't want him to be good in the end. I didn't want him to be like coerced into doing it. I wanted him to be
Yeah.
scary and like need to be locked up.
So at first, I was like, I'm gonna jot down Becky. You know, it's obvious, but
Mm-hmm. We're playing Clue.
in case this is like a disappointment and it's super obviously Becky, I'm just gonna jot this down. But also, there was some intent, like it wasn't just the mean girl stuff going on. There was like two instances. I don't recall the second one, but there was multiple times where something would happen and Becky would come out of nowhere and like have the information. Like
Yes.
with the bomb, the villain comes in and runs into Becky and she's like, "Oh yeah, Evie's out on the parapet with the bomb, with a bomb." And it's like, "Becky,
Right.
where'd you come from? Like, who told you this? Did you see her and just
Maybe
say,
she's just
"Oh
that
no."
much of a busybody that it's
Yeah,
just
and
like
so
she's on top of everything.
Becky was kind of mentioned this or that, but she wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
here. And then all of a sudden, like there was two instances where it was like that, where she's like, "Oh
She's
yeah,
like
Evie's doing this."
suspicious.
Yeah, it was
I
very
honestly
suspicious.
thought that it was Tatiana. I
Yeah,
don't know why, because I think it
I
was
just didn't
something with
want it to
like
be her.
no, I didn't either, but I think something with her with Claire, the villain's sister. Like I
Yeah,
thought maybe there was something because there was like a history there,
yeah,
and then she was a supplier. So I didn't want it to be Tatiana. There was a couple chapters where I was like, oh, maybe it's Tatiana. I liked that they had. Like I said, like they implicated a lot of people. They
yes,
had evidence that would point to like one or two people, like the
yes.
ink or the letter from the king and stuff. Like there was a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, it could be them, oh, it could be this. I feel like the only part of the book that was amiss for me, which is weird because it was a really cute scene where they're in the closet, but the information that we got from that really didn't drive anything forward. It was just like idle gossip in my mind. Like I didn't really feel like we couldn't have figured out about that information any other way. I liked this scene. I thought it was cute and funny. Like
And I
they
think
were
it was
like
supposed
really
to be
close.
more of a cute scene,
Yeah,
like a
which when I was
barrier
like,
breaker
oh, but if we're
scene,
like
forced
supposed to be
proximity
listening to
type of
someone,
thing.
like we should like get to know a little bit more. So I didn't think it was like a total waste, but I was like, oh, I kind of wanted like some juicier details. Besides the fact that then we find out that Becky took a mask and it implicates her, so I guess we get that. But
Yeah,
I
and
was
that
just
was
like
like, I was like, "Ooh, it's Becky!
resolved.
I knew it!" Like,
That was resolved within legitimately 2 pages.
yeah, and that I guess so. Like there was quick resolves, which was nice in the aspect of nothing was drawn out too far, but
Oh
sometimes it
yeah.
was a little anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, but I guess there's like as a balance. I mean, beggars can't be
Yeah, I would
choosers.
say
I'd
that
rather have that than the drawn out
the
annoyance.
big reveal was pretty nice. Like as far as what? Like it kept me going to the next chapter.
Yes, I liked the little tidbits of stuff that was spread out, like little glimpses that they give you about their past, but then they don't, like they give us little bits, and I'm like, I gotta know what they're talking about. So I kept reading,
Mhm.
like her wound on her back. As soon as we met freaking Mr. Warson, I was
Yeah.
like, I really hope, like she says she wanted to strangle him. I was like, oh, okay, Miss Sunshine. I was hoping that that would be her first kill, villainous activity, torture, something.
Yes.
And then chapter 59, she turned, this is the direct quote, she turned towards Otto's dead body. She smiled. I was so happy.
I loved it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that to anyone in her life, she probably looks like this really like sheepish person, but she just is really strong and she's like self-justified. Like
Yeah.
I think she wants everybody else to know what she's up to, but she knows like no, that I was not treated right in that situation. Like I'm rightfully pissed about how my how my dad handled this, and then the like justice that she got on that, and how like when he at the end, or not like at the end, but closer to the end, when when her dad's being taken away, she's like, no, I want him to rot. He needs to rot. He has time. She's like, he needs to rot. I was like, yes, girl. Don't just be like, oh, he said make sure it's a clean cell, because he was trying to be
Yeah,
so
she said, no,
nice.
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's okay if it's dirty. Like, he needs to rot. I was like, yes.
I think I was really, I mean, obviously sucks for her because she thought her dad was this great guy. Sucks for her that he turned out to be the bad guy. But I was very relieved in the whole situation. A, that she figured it out. She girl bossed it, figured it out. B,
that was so badass.
Yes. B, the villain did not make it in time to take over the situation and be Prince Charming. She got to do it all herself. I really liked that. It didn't feel like overly feminist, but it was also just like, it felt right. Like, it felt good. It didn't feel like a forced man coming in and just doing everything for her. And with that, I'm glad that she figured it out before him, without him, because she has no like bias, I guess, where he like all those other books that like he comes in and he's like, your dad is evil, and she's like, no, I love my dad, he's great. He's like, I have to kill your dad, and then she spends the whole book hating him.
The freaking ground, like sedated.
Yeah,
God knows how long.
She said, your story is finished. I underestimated Evie for sure. But I was very pleasantly surprised that, and again, I don't think the villain brought any of this out of her. I think she had it in there, and he recognized, like, how she like shines light in his life. He shines darkness on hers. Like, they just they balance each other out and bring out some balance, because she was too sunshiny for me, and then got darker, rightfully so. And then he was a little too brooding. And then he got lightened up. Like, he laughed, and they were like, are you laughing right now?
He's like, no, I'm not. I don't have a nightlight in my bedroom for nighttime purposes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also super enjoyed the ending. You know, I think that
You enjoyed the ending?
I did. I think that there's a lot to be said about like a capture trope at the end of a book. Like, that is it can be overdone. But I like that it wasn't so much that she was like a sniveling mess. She was just like, I'll go get him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't, she literally like,
I mean, but that's her lifestyle, right?
She killed her abuser.
You gotta do it yourself. No one else is gonna do it for you. You gotta do it yourself.
Exactly. So she like goes back to the freaking manor, cleans up, and is like, no, I'll go get him. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's not like she was inconsolable on her knees, sniveling, and like she was also the night. That's got to be tied into the second book. I don't know if you caught that, but like the night that like lets her go.
Oh yeah, it said, I was like, it's the same
her?
Guy or something.
Is that like, I don't know. I wanted to say it was her mom.
Into his mask or whatever. His
helmet.
I
wanted to say it was her mom, but I don't know if that like tracks. If it's like, you're too short to be a stormtrooper situation. Like, we'll find out. But I think that we should keep our eye on that.
I don't know enough about
her brother did die,
so I don't, or these guards' armor, but I don't know if a woman's body could like hide in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. We don't have like any other hidden, I don't know, like hidden characters that we haven't met necessarily that would make me think like, oh, this person should have saved them because they were like their parent or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was very suspicious, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep my eye. I'll keep my eye out for the second book, because I'm hoping that wasn't just like a act of kindness. I'm hoping that it was like a plot point.
Well, and I think then that miscommunication can come in with her mom, if it didn't come in with the villain, because her dad, oh yes, she did kill Also, wait a minute. Maybe maybe the knight's her brother. He didn't die? Question mark. Mom
I
saved
think she
him
said
from
that.
crazy dad.
Didn't she say that? Hold on.
I could be
Go.
totally off
I think
base.
that she said that he like died right in front of their eyes.
Yeah, but
And
they've
then
got
her
that like
mom
core healer
disappeared.
in this world, and
Oh, you're so right.
maybe
And maybe
mom
something.
took him and said, "Let's go live a better life over here. We'll come get your sisters later." And something happened, or Mr. Knight, his brother, trying to get his sisters back now. I don't know. But
I know there's a lot of stuff where I was like, it could be a family member.
now I'm kind of gonna be disappointed if that's not the case.
I don't know. I'll have to like go back. I'll probably reread this again before I read the second book, just because it was like such a quick
And
read and
because
just like very fast paced.
when we thought dad was good guy, great guy, loving father, he said mom bad, mom left. She never sent correspondence. She hates us.
Right.
But then we find out dad bad. Dad tried to sell off daughter
Mom
to be
still alive,
hooker.
still talk to dad.
Mom sending correspondence, dad not telling us, keeping it from
Oh,
us.
and then when she said,
Maybe she
"Please,
is
want
good.
to like, I want to see them," I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
exactly.
heartbroken."
Exactly. Or maybe all together. Oh, I guess not, because she was there. I was going to say maybe he sent them away. Or she ran off and he said, no, she left to cover up his pride. But Evie did see brother get hit by magic.
Yeah, I don't know because I think also it was like 10 years earlier. Also, I love that she's not like freaking 17. I think she was 23. I was like, thank
Yeah.
God. um yeah, I don't know. I like that there are still elements of the first book that need to be answered. Like more
Yeah.
than just I need to go save my mans. It is like there are plot points that were not
Correct.
tied up at the end with a bow, and I just really enjoyed this book a lot. This is a good first like peek into this little book club because I don't know, it was just like really well received by both of us, I think.
Yeah. And
I love hate reading, but this was just like
outside of our
so
norm.
nice. And I did not read, well, I read the blurb before we started reading it, but I didn't really know anything about it until we did start reading it.
Yes.
Because I just didn't.
That's kind of why I thought the villain was going to not be a bad guy. Not that he's a bad guy, but like
no,
he's a
but
villain.
I'm so glad he's like
it was interesting. It was
morally
different.
gray, but at the same time not. Like he's very caring and I don't know, he's just a good businessman. He's just dealing in death and taxes, so it's all fine. Also,
Yeah.
I love Kingsley. Kingsley was such a funny.
I wonder if we
little
figure
added
out
who Kingsley
more
is
about him, because he did say he's a prince. Like,
but he's had him for 10 years.
maybe
So he
it's
would have
the
been
king's
19.
son.
So he would have gotten
Stole him on his way out.
Imagine
Just grabbed him on his way out
the
of the
amount
castle.
of like the amount of Kingsley quotes I have highlighted. Just the one word signs, like, oh, I just love it. And then when he like doesn't have any signs, he just tries to like butt in on the conversation.
Do we know how old Evie's sister is? I know she's younger.
She's, well, I don't know. I think she's 11 or 12. But she was written very much younger.
Yeah, sometimes I felt like she was older and sometimes I felt like she was younger. But it would have been cute because she is like the fairy tale minded child. If she was like 15, 16, 17 and then she just like randomly kissed the prince because she read it in one of her books.
Oh my gosh.
But not as a 12-year-old.
Somebody call, is her name Hannah? Somebody call Hannah.
I don't think that works.
We have an idea
12.
No, very much not. No, I just really, is probably my favorite read of this year so far. And I cannot wait for the
You're gonna
hardcovers
be
to come out. 'Cause-
comparing everything to this book then.
I don't know though, because I don't think that it's like
It was way
if
more
it was
predictable. It was way
if it
more
was
annoying.
if there wasn't a like, hold on. If there wasn't a like book to it, then maybe, but it's not like any
It's very
fantasy that I've
much
ever
in its own world.
read. And I like that there was like, I don't know, it just very much, to me, it was very much set in like the early 1800s, but also somehow in the 40s. Or like in like the 30s, I guess it was like where typewriters would be a thing, but then also we have
Yeah,
like
you're right,
horse-drawn
because
carriages and
women
like
were just recently allowed to
daggers,
be in the workforce.
blacksmiths.
She says
Yeah,
something about not being able to wear trousers because people will be like, "Oh my gosh, her legs are out."
right, exactly. So it
So
very
that
much
did
is
feel
like
that.
this interesting draw between like needing potions and having alchemists and wizards, and then also being like like coffee, like black sludge coffee, and like like mahogany desks and
Yeah, yeah.
stiletto heels. So, which what a fashion choice. I just can't imagine. She's like, I need a break from these.
Also,
She just breaks a heel.
that scene, her response is, "My foot is stuck." And his response is, "Well, pull it out."
He's
I
like,
thought that was
okay,
funny.
and I have so many highlights.
It's giving just don't. Have you tried? Not.
Have you tried? Mm-mm. Absolutely not. Her little like side notes, like, don't do this. Don't think this about your boss. Like, don't do this about your boss. I love her like intrusive thoughts. I just think
Yes.
that like
Again, it was a very
even it's
well
like
done third person narration.
yeah. I'll be mad at any other third person that's not like this. I guess that's my only comparison is like we could do better. But I didn't mind it. And now we're gonna move on to like another book is gonna be disappointing.
See, I told you.
It's not gonna be the same.
Started off
But
too strong.
that's our fault. We didn't know. I had no idea because it wasn't even on like my TikTok radar, which is weird because I think it's pretty popular. But
It came out a while ago.
that's true.
It was
Enough
definitely
to have a
on the
second book,
radar.
right? Oh well, you didn't tell me about it, so what am I supposed to do with that information?
I don't know.
We can wrap it up here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you have anything
I'm out
else
of
to say.
notes.
I have 20,000 notes, so but we don't have time.
20,000.
Because I will just highlight the entire book. Okay, let's end with this. It was appallingly horrific and devastatingly wonderful that this small wisp of a woman had undone years of building pillars of protection around himself. He would take apart any wall that kept him from him. His tornado kept him from her. His tornado. Oh my god.
See,
Oh my
you highlighted
gosh.
all the cute stuff. I just highlighted the funny stuff and said LOL.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and follow. Subscribe. I've never had to do this before.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.